An artist is someone expressing their souls. Chapter 1. Artists must have the guts to work for themselves. Artist Career 1. I saw the movie The Agony and the Ecstasy about Michelangelo's life with Charlton Heston. It was good because it portrayed all the hassles he had earning money, trying to appease the church and his benefactors. It was not an idealistic fantasy. He wanted to sculpt stone but had to earn money and act like a good citizen in order to eventually get the freedom to be left alone to do his own thing. Money is the real world. Art is the fantasy world. Most artists don't earn a living from their art. What is art? I heard a rapper on the CBC radio show Q talking as though he was a great artist. Then I heard one of his alleged songs. It sounded like something some junior high kid would do. There are certain objective standards of art and music. If there is no intrinsic beauty or melody to it, it's crap. In Thailand, they put paintbrushes onto the trunks of elephants whereupon they slopped some paint on canvas which they sold to make money for their elephant sanctuary. Be careful with your delusion of what an artist is. Some guy thought he was an artist, so Jerry Springer gave him an opportunity to showcase his stuff on his show. It looked bad. You could tell the guy had no talent. We live in an era where they're saying art is what you say it is. They call it diversity. Everybody has the right to inclusion. If you think you're an artist, you have the right to think of yourself as one and present yourself as one even if you have no true talent. If the people want to buy into it, that tells you about the collective mindset of the human race. Many people have a delusional idea of an artist's life they got from TV and movies. The coolest people are always artists making lots of money. The mass media picks a few people and showcases them as star artists while thousands of artists just as good or better at their craft get nothing. That's the way it is in arts. There are very few true geniuses out there. A painting is a subjective experience. An actor spews out rehearsed lines. 1,000 actors can easily do any role as well as anyone else. The only way to detect a true artist is through a literary work or music that moves you. Everything else is opinion. I've known plenty of talented poor artists. That's the way most artists live. Most eventually take on another job. School teachers make up a big percentage of artists with day jobs. Artist Career 2. Many artists are self-employed. Many artists have a real job with a paycheck. Art might be passion, but it's also business, so be professional and organized about it. You can sell freelance art through your studio and website and through galleries who always take a percentage commission out of the deal. For tax purposes, you're a self-employed independent contractor. If you use a certain part of your home for a studio, you can deduct the costs of all that from your tax bill. Get publications 505, 533, 534 and 587 at irs.gov, 800-829-3676. Because you're in business, you collect sales tax for the state when you sell something, so you have to get a state sales tax number which entitles you to not pay tax when you buy art products for your profession. Rather than a business card, get postcards made up with a copy of one of your paintings and your website name on it. The process for marketing anything is basically the same. A critical difference is that art is a desire. It's not a need. The money in art is not in selling originals one painting at a time. It's coming up with a real cool painting or line of paintings like Norman Rockwell paintings, licensing the concept to some company that sells thousands of posters or prints of it. I saw a report of some guy who created a cool-looking line of greeting cards. The big shot greeting card companies wanted to buy him out. He said no. Next thing you know, the big shot companies are coming out with a greeting card line that looks suspiciously similar to his. He can't sue them and fight them in court because they can afford the lawyers to say they came up with that idea on their own. My point is that if you're a good artist with a good idea, somebody is going to steal your intellectual property one way or another. That's the artist's life. At least we have the internet now where you can sell your own stuff. In the past we had a few gatekeeper companies and that was it. You had to beg them, then you were either in or out as their servant. Artist Career 3. Earn your keep by mastering a soulful pursuit to a worthy level for someone to get some use out of it. Do the right thing with who you are so you can help, amuse, or inspire people so the money they give you will be your ticket to a good life for yourself, like Geronimo, the great Indian chief, said. While living I want to live well. I know I have to die sometime, but even if the heavens were to fall on me, I want to do what is right. Find your soulful passions and figure out a way to parlay them into a means to get cash by filling a need or helping people in some way. It may not necessarily be a pure deal, often you'll have to compromise, like the swimmer who becomes a swim coach or the animal lover who becomes a veterinarian. It's easy for a lone individual to be enlightened and free while the organized world system around him is repressed and neurotic in what it does and how its citizens approach life. But I'm warning you, you'd better have cast iron nerves of steel and a good dose of self-belief if you want to make it as a pure artist with something real to offer to the world to earn your cash, as opposed to being a pop culture gimmick, because the world is ruthless against original people unless you happen to be one of the rare lucky ones who gets an investor or benefactor early on. True enlightened artists don't want fame or recognition for anything other than doing something worthy and / or original, being themselves. They don't want to be manufactured clones of the system as with most of our pop culture stars. It's more about the art, inspiration, and lifestyle of it rather than letting the suits market you to the hilt until you don't know who you are anymore but you're making money. That image is the bottom line. There are very few pure artists who wouldn't sell their assholes for the right price. The mentality of our system is such that you work to earn money to live a good life. The mentality of an inspired artist is to work at what you love to do because it creates the most important thing within you: inner strength, power, inspiration, and spiritual aesthetics. Do what you love in order to win the game of life. Money is the standard of our capitalist system, there's no doubt about that, nor any doubt about the fact that money buys material freedom, but the problem starts when we cross the line in the sacrifice of our most precious commodity, time, in order to work dull jobs to acquire material things. Your reality is in your head. You don't really need much beyond the modest basics in order to be happy and the cash to do what you want to do when you want to do it. Many artists, musicians, and free spirits in general don't make much money through their soulful pursuits, but they're aware enough to know that life goes beyond material things. If you're born with a song in your soul, you should consider it a divine gift and honor it no matter what. If you're lucky enough to have a soulful talent, nothing else should matter but to live it out. People like to be inspired by beautiful, aesthetic things or horrible things that make them see something new about the human condition, but it only encompasses a minimal part of life, and there are way too many starving artists out there struggling for a piece of this minimalist pie. So be ready for a battle if you want to take that route, even if you have exceptional talent, because the world is more concerned with practical things like cars, houses, food, bills, plumbing, etc. So seek what you love to do that can help people in a real way by making their lives simpler, cheaper, easier, or better. One exception to this is the artist or creative type who can create a work of art so original, unique, different, and beautiful that ordinary people come out of the woodwork to buy it. Barring one of the few who make it exclusively through their creative talents, like a great singer/songwriter or a great storyteller, focus on tailoring your passions to fit into the real-world need of helping people in a real way somehow, and you can win the game by getting to do what you want and getting paid for it. The ideal lifestyle is to make money while being free to do what you like to do anyway, like an inventor, a self-employed lumberjack, a fish farmer, artist, freelance graphic designer, architect, craftsman, or a writer. Or combine two things. Many people combine jobs they like to do along with their creative talents. Many people work part-time or seasonal jobs and things they like to do, then spend a few hours writing their music or novels at night or in their off time. As long as you love it, it doesn't matter what you do. There are some interesting jobs out there. You just have to find them. If you're an extreme artist who only wants to do your own thing, you have to look at the marketplace, see what's selling, and come up with some kind of practical solution. You could spend part of your time true to your art and part of the time pumping out stuff for Joe middle class to make money. It should be something practical or functional art that sells cheaply. People will pay $25 for a nice lawn ornament or a nice picture, but that's it. So try to tailor your artwork to the middle class who'll never appreciate true art anyway, nor be able to afford it, nor give a damn besides something that looks cool on their coffee table or their walls. So that's your market. If you come up with something cool and unique like a lava lamp or the psychedelic pastel posters of the past, you could get rich by licensing it out and selling it to major distributors. Think of something that inspires people. That's what they'll pay for. I read about one artist who painted cool-looking, inspirational, inexpensive paintings and sold them near a college campus to mostly students. He said he didn't have to sell them, they sold themselves. Make something so good and inspiring that it sells itself. Make the right painting, copyright it, get it printed onto posters, license it to sell worldwide, and you could make a lot of money like Roger Crumb did with his psychedelic art back in the 60s. Artist soul searching. The critical question about doing crafts for a living or for extra income is, do you love this enough to do it for free? The reason for this is that you won't get rich unless you create a unique product that a lot of people want, patent it or otherwise protect it as your intellectual property, then mass produce it. Those bits you see on the news sometimes about some kid or even an adult painting a picture and selling it for $100,000 or so is a pipe dream, a sensationalized piece of journalism that doesn't happen much in the real world. Secondly, crafts is a fickle business. Flea markets and garage sales are full of craft knickknacks. Craft products come down to home decor, a frivolous affectation for bored, middle-aged housewives. There is a possibility that even after all your work, you won't sell your products and will lose the money you put into it, not to mention the time spent creating the craft products. If you truly love crafts, it might be an option for you, but you have to be business-minded about it. There are some millionaire success stories through arts and crafts. One woman created bows that you put on gift packages that are much nicer than the generic ones that were on the market. With this little niche, she got some big department store contracts and became a millionaire. There was a couple who started a greeting card business with down-to-earth, rustic greeting cards that worked great until everybody else copied their idea. Doing crafts is fun in the aesthetic, creative sense, but if you are in it to earn money, you have to think pragmatically. It's not good sense to produce an elaborate, time-intensive work of art or craft if the price will be higher than similar works of art. You have to come up with something you can produce cheaply and sell quickly at a profit. You also have to know where and how to sell your stuff. Many crafters sell their wares through garage sales, flea markets, and crafts fairs, but there are other potentially profitable ways, such as through your own website, through another, larger website run by somebody else, through a mail-order catalog run by another company, on consignment through small retail gift shop type stores in your area, and the potential biggest way of all, if you've got something neat that can be packaged and sold, is to get a contract with a large department store chain. That could potentially net you millions in worldwide sales, but you have to pitch it first. It has to be unique, practical, or cool enough such that the executives think it will sell well in their store. If they accept it, they will recommend changes like packaging and offer you a price per unit. You either negotiate for a higher price, accept it, or reject it. They might even recommend that you move production to China to lower your costs. The problem with making it as an artist is that everybody thinks they're an artist, hence, intense competition. You may be living in a fantasy thinking that you're better than you really are. Art products, in and of themselves, are luxury products, hence, a large segment of the population is not interested. There is an overabundance of products on the market. The art world itself at the so-called higher levels is a very phony, snotty affair dealing with egos and so-called chic rather than true talent. During hard times, the art field goes on the back burner for nearly everybody. To make it as an artist, you have to be a business person. Learn about business. The federal government's Small Business Administration, 800 you ask SBA, sba.gov, might be able to help you out. You have to promote your product just like anything else is promoted, with aggression. Get out there and show your stuff whenever and wherever possible. Get your stuff shown at galleries. Price it reasonably. Always get a sales contract in writing. Rejection is part of the life of an artist except for the few lucky ones who get manufactured to be pop stars as kids. Learn to deal with it or get out of the business. Check out the grant and foundation scene for some free money. A sideline job is to teach art classes and offer retreat-type workshops. Trade things for your work. Paint a mural on the side of a furniture store in exchange for a bedroom set. It's a business, not some romantic fantasy. A ceramic studio might sound quaint, but what's the good of it if people can buy mass-produced ceramic pieces at the dollar store for $1 a piece? The bottom line is that a work of art, no matter how good, is just a piece of decor. Except for the big phony art aficionados out there, most art is just middle ground stuff. There are very few true, totally stunning works of timeless beauty anywhere. The statue of David and the wall of the Sistine Chapel are great works of art, but they mean nothing to a guy like me except a momentary feeling of inspiration about Michelangelo's dedication to his craft. Even if I were to become a billionaire, I would never buy any artwork or decor for my house because it goes against my life philosophy of don't surround yourself with material crap just because your society tells you to. I'd rather watch a porno than go to an art gallery, so get real, don't take your so-called art too seriously. Anyone who calls themselves an art connoisseur or has an art collection, is a fake out of touch with the real world. It implies elitism, that you're sitting around pretending to admire art when there's some kid starving somewhere. Go to exhibitions, fairs, and trade shows to see what your competition is up to and to see what's going on. Get all your work copyrighted. Pay your taxes.